Welcome to CrimePod Castle Unsolved Mystery Series.
Yeah.
Episode 40.
Oh, wow. 40 already.
I know, it's hard to believe, right?
Time flies when you're solving mysteries, or trying to, anyway.
That's the truth, huh? So today we're traveling to Jaipur, India.
Beautiful city.
Absolutely stunning. Known for its vibrant culture, those incredible palaces.
The Pink City.
Exactly. But we're not here for a sightseeing tour.
No, not this time.
We're here to untangle a real-life mystery that's haunted Jaipur for years. The Jaipur Double Murder.
Yeah, this case, it really gets under your skin, It's one of those that just sticks with you.
It's 2008, and we're focusing on Dr. Rajendra Sharma, retired professor, and his wife, Sunita Sharma, seemingly ordinary lives.
Like salt-of-the-earth people, just living their lives.
No scandals, no drama, just enjoying their golden years.
The kind of couple you'd think would be immune to something like this.
But then tragedy strikes.
And it's brutal.
So what happened? What makes this case so different from other double homicides?
Well, usually you see intense emotions, clear motives, revenge, jealousy.
The usual suspects.
Right, but here there's just this unsettling lack of motive.
It's like a puzzle missing a crucial piece.
Exactly. It's August 12th, 2008.
Okay, setting the scene.
A neighbor notices the Sharma's front door is ajar. They're a little concerned.
Naturally.
So they call the police thinking maybe a break-in, something simple.
Makes sense.
But what the police find inside is far more sinister.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
This is where things take a dark turn.
The Sharmas were found dead in their living room, victims of blunt force trauma.
Blunt force trauma. That suggests a pretty violent struggle.
There were signs of a fight. They didn't go down without a fight.
But you said the neighbor found the door ajar. Not broken down or anything?
That's the strange part. There were no signs of forced entry.
So how did the killer get in?
That's the million-dollar question. And to make matters even more complicated, nothing was stolen.
Hold on. No forced entry, no theft. It's like the killer just vanished into thin air.
It's one of the things that makes this case so baffling. Where do you even begin with something like that?
So how did the Jaipur police approach this? I mean, where do you even start with a case this perplexing?
Well, they launched a full-scale investigation, of course. First, they looked at those closest to the victims.
Friends, family, anyone who might have had a reason to harm the Sharmas.
Right, it's standard procedure. Plus, statistically speaking, most victims know their attacker.
So did they find any likely suspects among the Sharmas' inner circle?
You'd think so. But surprisingly, no. Everyone they interviewed was shocked, devastated. They all described the Sharmas as this beloved couple with no enemies, no conflicts.
Wow, that's unusual. Isn't that a major setback to the investigation?
It definitely throws a wrench in things early on, because it eliminates the most statistically likely pool of suspects.
So if it wasn't someone close to them, what other angles did the police explore?
Well, robbery is a common motive in double homicides.
Right, but you said nothing was missing from the house.
Exactly. No valuables, no cash, not even like small, insignificant items.
Like the motive wasn't material gain at all.
It deepens the mystery for sure.
So we've ruled out those close to the Sharmas and ruled out robbery. What's next?
The police then looked into Dr. Sharma's past. Maybe a disgruntled former student or colleague seeking revenge,
A long shot, but worth exploring, I guess.
Exactly. They had to consider all possibilities, especially with so few leads. They meticulously examined his career, contacted people from his past, but nothing substantial turned up.
Dead end after dead end. It's like this case is designed to be unsolvable.
And when you have a case with so many unknowns, speculation tends to run wild. That's exactly what happened here.
Oh, I bet. Tell me more. What kind of theory started circulating?
Well, with no clear motive, no obvious suspects, and those unusual circumstances at the crime scene, people's imaginations went into overdrive.
Okay, my inner detective is officially hooked.
Yeah.
Let's hear about those theories.
So one of the first theories, and it's a classic, crime of passion.
The old love triangle or revenge scenario.
Exactly. A hidden affair, secret rivalry, a grudge that no one knew about.
Sounds like something out of a movie. But doesn't that clash with everything we know about the Sharmas?
That's the problem. They were considered such a harmonious couple, deeply respected.
And did the police find any evidence to support this theory?
Not a shred. Nothing to suggest a secret lover, suspicious financial dealings, or any hidden conflicts.
So if not passion, then what?
Well, another theory, a little more out there, a professional hit.
A hitman. Now, that's interesting. What made people think that?
I think it was the brutality of the murders. No clear motive or theft, just cold-blooded execution.
But why would a retired professor and his wife be targeted like that?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Investigators looked into organized crime, any illegal activities, even the possibility that the Sharmas witnessed something they shouldn't have.
Yes.
Nothing. No concrete evidence to support the hitman theory.
So we've ruled out close acquaintances, robbery, revenge, a crime of passion, even a professional hit. It's like we're running out of options.
There was one more theory, though, and it's perhaps the most unsettling of them all.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What is it?
Random act of violence.
Random. But how does that explain the lack of forced entry?
That's what makes this theory so disturbing. It suggests that someone just happened upon the Sharma's house, maybe found the door ajar, and seized a horrifying opportunity.
That's terrifying. But wouldn't the level of violence seem excessive for a random attack?
You're right. It almost feels personal, right? Like there's more to it than just a random act.
Exactly. It's like there's this underlying rage or intent that doesn't quite fit.
And that's the challenge with this theory. It's difficult to reconcile with the facts of the case. Random acts are usually impulsive, chaotic. This was brutal, calculated.
So we have these three main theories, none of them quite fitting the puzzle pieces. How did all this affect Jaipur? I mean, a case like this so shrouded in mystery and violence must have had a huge impact.
It absolutely did. This case sent shockwaves through the city, shattered that sense of security that residents took for granted.
Especially in a place known for its peace and tranquility.
Right. People were used to feeling safe, especially in quiet neighborhoods like where the Sharmas lived.
It's like a stark reminder that even in paradise, darkness can find a way.
Absolutely. And the media frenzy that followed didn't help. It amplified those feelings of fear, confusion, and the desperate need for answers.
The case went national, right?
It did. It put immense pressure on the police to solve this seemingly unsolvable crime.
Understandably so. Unsolved crimes like this, they leave this lingering sense of vulnerability, like anyone could be a target.
That's the thing about unsolved cases. They don't just impact the victims and their families, they affect the entire community.
Speaking of the Sharma family, how did they cope with all of this? I can't imagine the pain and uncertainty they must have gone through.
It's heartbreaking to think about the grief of losing their parents, compounded by the lack of answers. Imagine not knowing who took them, why, or if they'll ever face justice.
That not knowing the lack of closure, it must be an incredibly heavy burden to carry. So did the case eventually go cold?
Officially, it remains open, but as time passed, leads dried up, the initial fervor faded.
It became another cold case.
Exactly. A case that, despite the best efforts of investigators, remains unsolved, sometimes for years, even decades.
It's almost like these cold cases become ghosts, haunting investigators, a constant reminder of the mysteries that elude them.
There's definitely a sense of unfinished business. Justice delayed, perhaps even denied. And for the families, that feeling is magnified tenfold.
They're left to grapple with their loss while knowing the perpetrator might still be out there living their life as if nothing happened.
It's a chilling thought. But even with cold cases, isn't there always a glimmer of hope?
Like those stories you hear about cases being solved decades later thanks to new technology or a sudden break.
Absolutely. Advances in forensic science, especially DNA technology, have revolutionized cold case investigations.
So there's still a chance that the Jaipur double murder could be solved.
There's always a chance. A piece of evidence that seemed insignificant years ago could suddenly become crucial with new testing methods.
It's like those crime shows where they find a tiny fiber or a drop of blood and it cracks the whole case wide open.
Exactly. Technology has come a long way. And with it comes new possibilities for solving even the most baffling cold cases.
So if investigators were to revisit this case today, where should they focus their efforts? What elements of this puzzle might hold the key to unlocking the truth?
I think going back to the basics is a good place to start. Revisiting the evidence with fresh eyes.
Like a reboot of the investigation.
Yeah, exactly. Go back to the crime scene photos, re-examine witness statements, look for any inconsistencies or overlooked details.
I'm trying to find a needle in a haystack.
It is, but sometimes that needle is all it takes to unravel the whole thing. And here's something to consider. Those three main theories we discussed?
Crime of passion, professional, hit random act of violence.
What if the answer lies somewhere in between? Maybe we've been too focused on fitting the evidence into neat little boxes.
And missed a crucial detail because it didn't fit any specific theory.
Exactly. We need to think outside the box, consider possibilities that might not have been on the radar back in 2008.
Okay, so what kind of possibilities are we talking about?
Well, for instance, what if the motive was multifaceted?
Multifaceted, like a combination of factors.
Right. Maybe there was a personal element combined with something financial that hasn't been uncovered yet. Or perhaps there's a connection to Dr. Sharma's work that we haven't fully explored.
It's like we're back at square one, but with a deeper understanding of how complex this case really is.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of cold cases. Sometimes you need that time, that distance to see things with a fresh perspective.
So for all the armchair detectives out there listening, what would you say is the most important takeaway from the Jaipur double murder?
I think it's a stark reminder that even seemingly ordinary lives can be touched by extraordinary tragedy.
The Sharmas, they weren't involved in anything risky or controversial, just living their lives.
And yet they became victims of this horrific act of violence. It's a chilling reminder that crime can touch anyone, anywhere, at any time.
It's unsettling, for sure. But beyond the fear and uncertainty, what else does this case highlight?
It highlights the importance of hope. The hope that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, the truth can eventually come to light.
Justice delayed is not justice denied.
Exactly. It might take time, years even, but there's always a chance that the pieces of the puzzle will fall into place.
And that chance is what keeps investigators going, keeps families holding on to hope.
It's what keeps us striving for a world where justice prevails no matter how long it takes.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Jaipur double murder, I keep coming back to those unanswered questions.
It's like this case, even though it happened years ago, it's still very much alive.
It's true. There's this lingering sense of mystery, this need for closure.
The human mind seeks patterns, explanations. When we're confronted with something as senseless as this crime, it leaves a void that we try to fill.
We create narratives, we speculate, we search for answers.
And sometimes those answers elude us.
So are we simply left to accept that some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved?
I wouldn't say it's about accepting it as much as acknowledging the limits of our knowledge. There are things we may never know about this case.
But that doesn't mean we stop searching.
Exactly. It just means we have to be comfortable with the unknown, with the possibility that the truth might always be out of reach.
It's a difficult concept to grasp. But maybe there's something to be said for embracing the unknown.
Absolutely. It keeps us humble, reminds us that we don't have all the answers, and it leaves room for hope.
Hope that one day new evidence will surface, a new witness will come forward, and the truth will finally be revealed.
That's the thing about mysteries. They have a way of resurfacing when we least expect it.
So for anyone listening who's been captivated by this case, what's the most important thing to remember?
Remember the victims, Dr. Rajendra Sharma and Sunita Sharma? They were real people with lives, love stories that extended far beyond this crime.
Their lives mattered, and their deaths, however tragic, should remind us to cherish every moment.
Beautifully said. Let their memory inspire us to live with kindness, compassion, and a deep appreciation for life.
And if anyone out there knows anything about this case, no matter how small or insignificant, please come forward.
You never know. Your piece of information could be the key to solving this mystery.
Well said. And that concludes our deep dive into the Jaipur double murder. We hope you found it both fascinating and thought-provoking.
Keep those minds curious, keep asking questions, and keep searching for answers.
And don't forget to follow and subscribe to CrimePod Castle Unsolved Mystery Series for more intriguing explorations into the mysteries that surround us. Until next time, stay curious.